Welcome to the lecture of Digital Signal Processing. I am Sanjavali, Assistant Professor in the Department of ECE at Bharat Institute of Higher Education and Research. Today I am going to discuss about some of the basics of digital signal processing. This is the outline of today's presentation. First, we will see about classification of signals, then block diagram of digital signal processing. Next, we'll see about basic elements of DSP. Then later, we'll discuss about advantages, disadvantages, and applications of digital signal processing. That's the introduction of DSP. The term signal is defined as a physical quantity that varies with time, space, or any other independent variable. The term processing means that the operations are performed on a signal in order to extract some desired information. The term digital refers to the processing is done with the digital computer or with the special purpose digital hardware. The term digital signal processing is concerned with the representation of signals by a sequence of numbers or symbols and the processing of these sequences. Next, we'll see about classification of signals. The signals are classified into 5 types based on the different features. The first type is based on the independent variable. Whether the independent variable is continuous or discrete, based on the signals are classified into 2 types. Second one, based on the number of independent variables, it is classified as one-dimensional, two-dimensional, three-dimensional, and multi-dimensional signals. And based on the certainty of signals, it is classified as either deterministic or random signals. Next, based on repetition nature, the signals are classified as periodic and non-periodic signals. Next, based on the reflection, the signals are classified as 2 types. One is the even signal and another one is odd signal. Let us see detail about the classification of signals. The first type is based on an independent variable. Whether the independent variable is continuous means it is a continuous time signal. If independent variable is a discrete, the signals are classified as a discrete time signal. The continuous time signals are also called as analog signals, and these analog signals are continuous in amplitude and continuous in the time period. And this continuous time signals are represented by x of t with respect to time period t. An example for this continuous time signal we can say peak signal. So now a discrete time signal is represented as a sequence at discrete time intervals. And this discrete time signals are discrete in amplitude as well as discrete in time. And quantizing a discrete time signal will give a digital signal. Example for this discrete time signal is a digitized music signal stored in a CD-ROM disk. And second type of classification of signal is based on the number of independent variables. If a signal is a function of one independent variable, then it is called as a one-dimensional signal. For example, we can say speech signal, which is a function of one independent variable, time. If a signal is a function of two independent variables, then it is called as a two-dimensional signal. For example, we can say image signal. Similarly, if a signal is a function of three independent variables, it is a three-dimensional signal. For example, we can say videos. Next, if a signal is a function of n number of independent variables, it is a multi-dimensional signal. For example, we can say Google Maps. Next, the signals are classified based on the certainty of signals. In this, we have two types. One is the deterministic signal, another one is the random signal. If the signal is expressed by a well-defined mathematical expression, it is called as a deterministic signal. If the signal cannot be expressed by a mathematical expression or the signal cannot be predicted before its occurrence, such signals are called as a random signal. Here we can see the example for a deterministic signal. A sinusoidal signal and a square signal is the example for a deterministic signal. Both the signals are represented by a well-defined mathematical expression. Some of the examples were a random signal or a speech signal, ECG and a EEG signal. And next, the signals are classified based on the repetition nature. A signal which repeats every finite interval of time is called as a periodic signal, or a continuous time signal exhaustive that satisfies this condition for all the integers, all the values of t, that is the integer. If the condition is satisfied, we call it as a periodic signal. The pt is a continuous time and dt is a discrete time. If the condition is satisfied, we can say this is a periodic signal. If a condition is not satisfied, then it is a non-periodic signal. For every time period capital T, the signal gets repeats itself. The smallest value of T for which the equation holds good is called as the fundamental period T. Whereas in discrete time it is capital N. Next, the signals are classified based on the reflection as two types. One is even signal and another one is odd signal. Even signals are also called as symmetric signals, whereas the odd signals are called as the anti-symmetric signals. A signal, a continuous time signal x of t or a discrete time signal x of n is said to be an even signal if it is identical to its time reversal. That is, x of t and x of minus t both will be same if the signal is equal to x of minus t for all the values of t means, then it is called as a even signal. If it is not equal, that means not equal means if the signal x of t is not equal to its time reversal means it is a odd signal. So these two are it is a continuous time even signal and it is a discrete time even signal. Similarly, it is a continuous time odd signal and discrete time odd signal. Also, the signals can be classified into average energy. The signals are classified as a finite energy and a finite average power signal. Here we have a power relation in terms of voltage and current. If the resistance is 1, then for a unit resistance, here we are having a power relation P of T as V square of T, which is equal to I square of T. The signal is said to be energy signal if the energy is finite, then the power will be 0. That is the condition for a signal is said to be an even signal. Here we are having a relation for a energy signal. If the energy signal is finite, and power is zero, then such signal we call it as an energy signal. If another condition for a power signal is that power is finite whereas energy is infinite. In this condition, these signals are called as a power signals. So these are the conditions for a power signal and a energy signal. There are also some other signals. If this both the conditions are not satisfied, then in that case we'll get a neither energy and a not power signal. So next to the classification of signals, we'll see about block diagram of digital signal processing system. So the elements in the digital signal processing system are analog signal and the analog filter is also called as the anti-aliasing filter or a free filter. Usually the analog filter is used, low pass filter is used. And next one is the analog to digital converter. Then we have a digital signal processor, then digital to analog converter, and next we have a reconstruction filter or a post filter. In this filter also usually a low pass filter will be used. So these are the some of the basic elements of the digital signal processing. So what is the need for processing is that when a signal is transmitted from one point to another point, the signal gets transmitted. In between the signal will get distorted by the occurrence of external noise, so that they will not get the original signal at the receiving end. So in order to avoid that issue, we are using a filter so that we can process the signal in order to get the pure signal at the receiving end. For that purpose, we are doing the processing. So the first element in the digital signal processing is the anti-aliasing filter. This also called as a free filter. The signals are first filtered by this anti-aliasing filter. Usually, low pass filters are used for this purpose. In the analog signal, there may be an occurrence of a high frequency noise. So in order to avoid that high frequency components and high frequency noise, we are using this anti-aliasing filter. As the name itself indicates, it avoids the aliasing effect. After the analog filter, will get a band limited signal. So it is a representation of the low pass filter. Here we are having a pass band and next we are having a stop band. So this low pass filter allows low frequency signals to pass through and it blocks the high frequency signals. So after the analog signals get filtered by the anti-aliasing filter, that analog signal we get a band limited signal as the output from the analog filter. That band limited signals are first it is sampled at the A to D converter. Here at the A to D converter, we have the element, we have a sampler, quantizer, and a coder. The band limited signals from the analog filter is first sampled. By the process of sampling, that analog signal gets converted into a discrete time signal. This discrete time signal is represented by x of n. specify here, the signals are converted into a number of a sequence of numbers having a finite precision. So after quantization, the discrete time continuous valued signals are converted into a discrete value, that is digital signal. Those are represented by xq of n. After quantization, when the value of each signal sample is represented by a value selected from a finite set of possible values. The difference between the unquantized discrete time signal and a quantized signal xq of n, that difference is called as a quantization error. So after signal passes through a coder, we get a signal in terms of a digital bit, that is in form of a binary digits. So let us see what is the sampling. Here we have here the analog signal. That analog signal. Next we have here sampling pulse. If the analog signal and sampling pulse are given as input to a sampling circuit, we'll get output as the following circuit. It is a sampled version of this input sequence. This analog signal is sampled at the discrete time interval, will get a sampled sequence. Then the discrete time signal will get. Let's see what is the sampling theorem. What is the sampling theorem? The sampling frequency should be greater than equal to twice the maximum frequency of the analog signal. So in order to reconstruct the original signal at the receiver, this condition should be satisfied. For this condition is satisfied, then a signal can be exactly reconstructed at the receiving end. So this is the equation for a sampling theorem, which is also represented by a Nyquist equation. Next is about holding the sampled value. After doing the process of sampling, we have an operation called hold. So that after sampling, we'll get a pulses like this. Then, before holding, when the pulses will be like this. And then after holding, we'll get the wave signal as this representation. So holding operation is a part of the sample and hold circuit. So after filtering and sampling, the sample level must be held constant until the next sample gets occurs. Next is sampling is about quantization. Quantization is the process of converting analog values into the codes. When the analog to digital converter, it converts each sampled value of the analog signal into a binary code. Here we can have a representation of the binary code. It is a 2-bit representation of the signal, and for the 2-bit representation we have 4 levels: 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0 and 1, 1. Here, by doing the process of quantization, the signals are approximated to the nearest level. Next we'll see about digital signal processors. This digital signal processor process the input signal digitally. In a simple language, you can say it is a processing of an input analog signal by means of modifying the signal as per the requirement. This processor consists of a low pass, high pass, band pass, digital filtering, or other algorithms for different applications. With digital signal processors are a specialized microprocessors with an architecture optimized for the operational needs of digital signal processing. Next to processors, we have a DTA converter. With digital to analog converters, it connects the dots in a digital signal by performing some kind of interpolation. In the process of interpolation, here the sampling, we can increase the sampling factor so that we can reconstruct the signal. And here the accuracy depends on the quality of the digital to analog conversion process. One of the examples for this digital to analog converter is the zero order code or a staircase approximation, where the analog signals can be reconstructed from a sample, providing the sampling rate is sufficiently high in order to avoid the aliasing problem. After that, the digital analog converter, the signals are continuous in time, where discrete in amplitude. Next is about reconstruction of analog signals. If a 2-bit digital codes are used to reconstruct the original waveform, it is a digital to analog converter. Here this above waveform is obtained. It is a reconstruction of analog signal using a 2-bit digital codec. In this, we can see the bit of accuracy is lost. Since only 2 bits are used to represent the signal. Instead of using 2 bits, if we use a 4-bit representation, then we can get a better accuracy. So then we can reconstruct the analog signal better. So next to the DDA converter, we have a reconstruction filter. That's also called as an anti-imaging filter or a force filter. The output of this digital to analog converter is the analog. That means it is a continuous signal. This continuous signal may contain a high frequency components, that is a noise, which are unwanted. In order to remove those high frequency components, this reconstruction filters are used after the digital to analog converter. It is the advantages of digital signal processing. The first advantage is that flexibility. Here the operations in the digital signal processing can be changed by changing the software program. Next is the advantage is that tolerance. In the digital circuit does not depend on the previous value of the digital signal. Next one is another advantage is that component drift with temperature and time. When a digital system uses a logic 1 or a logic 0, which are independent of temperature, whereas in analog signals, when a resistance gets changes, the temperature gets varies. That problem will not occur in the digital signals. Next, we have a system size. Another advantage of DSP is the system size. In the analog system, it uses the inductance, capacitance, and resistance, so that the system size will be large compared to the digital system. And another advantage is the storage. Here, the digital signals can be easily stored on the magnetic medium without any loss of the signal fidelity, and it can be easily transportable and can be processed in offline or remote laboratory. And whenever needed, it can be utilized. Next one is the implementation. It's difficult to perform a precise mathematic operation on an analog signal, whereas the implementation will be better in the digital signals compared to the analog signals. In terms of cost, it allows the sharing of a given processor among a number of signals by time sharing. For example, we can say time division multiplexing, so that cost will be less in the digital signal processing. Some of the disadvantages of DSP are that its system complexity compared to the analog signal, the digital signal processing is more complex since the need for the filters and converters in the digital signal processing system. The other disadvantage is the bandwidth. It has a limited range of frequencies are available for processing. And last disadvantage is the power. Let us see about applications of digital signal processing. Some of the applications are digital cellular phone and satellite communication in seismic analysis. This used in vehicle collision avoidance. They also used in secure communication, used for a voice over internet and faceless answering machines, motor control in sonar, also using a voicemail, digital cameras, and navigation equipment in modem, that is plain old telephone system and integrated services, digital networks and cables, also used for audio production, for noise cancellation and video conferencing, medical ultrasound, music synthesis and effects, and also used radio reduction and ranging with radar. And some other applications of DSP are speech and audio compression, filtering, modulation and demodulation, error correction and correction coding and decoding, audio processing, signaling, speech recognition, and signal synthesis. So these are some of the applications of digital signal processing. Thank you.